Mic check, mic check. Hello, everybody. Are we live? Are we good? Are we going? Are we rolling? How's it looking? How's it looking? Be sure to let me know, guys. Be sure to let me know. Are we live? I think we're live. I think we should get this stream. I think we should get it going. What's going on? Okay, let me turn this down a little bit so we're not overpowered on the audio. Welcome back, everybody. Let's get this going, shall we? First things first that we got to do. If we're doing this, goodbye. First, we got to get rid of that. But let's get into it, shall we? We got to talk about March Madness. We got to talk about the Final Four games. We got to talk about what I saw tonight, and we can give a reaction. So, if you like sports, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. All right, let's get into it, shall we? Here, we're live. And after we're live, we're going to get going into it, okay? We're going to make sure we're live. All right, looks like we're live. Okay, let's rock and roll, baby. Let's freaking rock and roll. Okay, glad you guys are here. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's put this guy. You know where we should put this guy? Let's put this guy over here. Let's put this guy down here. Let's move this guy. Let's put him down there. Let's put this guy up here. Okay, sorry. Some things are... Got to move some stuff around. All right, let's go. Sorry, I had to move a couple things around. All right, let's get into it. Biggest story and kind of takeaway from this early game, I will admit, I overreacted a little bit. I overreacted to Lindbergh's injury, and I was like, look, if he doesn't come back, this thing's over. Well, I should have just kind of sat and waited a little bit because, sure enough, he came back in the second half. And one of the biggest, it's kind of a cool story if you think about it. But when he came back, he shot his back-to-back threes crisp, and he was shooting phenomenal from the three. Was able to kind of help extend the lead. Is the glare here? Let's take off the glasses so there's not too much of a glare. But before what are you guys feeling? Chat, what are we feeling? Should we talk about the Michigan game first or the UConn game? What are we feeling, guys? What are we feeling? Let me know. In fact, let's talk a little bit. Actually, let's go UConn game. Let's go Michigan game first, and then we'll react to the Illinois game because we've already talked about it, but we do have to talk about both games coming into today. All right, first things first that we got to talk about is Mara from Michigan. I think he is the biggest reason why Michigan was able to be victorious in their game today. He played absolutely phenomenal. He had 26 points total. I believe in the first half he had 13. So he played out of his mind. And I talked about it a little bit too in the halftime break. I said, hey, look, if Yaxel's not coming back, someone else has to step up. This is the kind of step up that I was talking about with you have to have other players. Cadeau, he stepped in great. He played better. McKinney had some points as well too. Some of the point leaders for the Michigan Wolverines tonight, you had Mara, you had McKinney, and you had Cadeau. Cadeau with 13, McKinney with 16, and then Mara with 26. But that's not also to include some of the points that Lindbergh had coming back because he was injured. He did miss significant time, during the first half. And then, like how I mentioned, some bench points. You got to talk about Cheddar as well, showing up. I feel like I'm missing a name too, but in the first half, after Yaxel went out, Michigan started to, you could kind of tell there was a little bit of tension, but I would say Michigan's defense was able to keep this thing pretty at bay. all things considered. I think kind of along the same stat line of like the Illinois, because there was an Illinois stat that I thought was actually really cool, and it stood out if you think about it, where of all the Illinois losses that happened this year, reason why was whoever their opponent was, two of them were UConn. They were held to 65 points or less. And I think there was a stat in Arizona's losses this season. It was due to not shooting well, but then also just smothering defense. And funny enough, like I don't know what it is, but like this game seems a little bit more interesting because this was a blowout. Like there was one point where the score was, I mean, Michigan was up by 30. Like this game, do not kid yourself, this game was not close. Versus Illinois and UConn, where okay, we could have a little bit of a run here. Now I will say, Arizona, after Michigan took the lead and took it early, I do think that Arizona did come back into this game because there were a couple of scoring droughts that Michigan went on. But again, with how the second half started, Lindborg, he came back. He had his back-to-back threes. Michigan had another hot start to start the second half. They extended the lead to at one point where it was 69-45. And then Cadeau as well. He only made three pointers. I think he shot 3 for 7. Which we can actually go double check. Let's go double check that stat. Let me pull up some stuff here. Boom. Here we go. Let's go this way. Let's go look it up. Could be wrong. Full box score. Here we go. Elliot Cadeau. 3 for 7. Yeah, so, okay. See, I know what I'm talking about. Here we go. But he had two of, like, the back-to-back threes that he had. It was huge. Ooh, this stat. Okay, this stat's kind of looking at me. It's looking at me funny. Arizona, look at this second half right here. 43-41. Okay, where they only scored 2 less points than Michigan. Maybe that first half, I don't know, the 48-32, maybe that was a little bit too much to come back from. Because I feel like when Arizona did start scoring points, like the commenters kind of talked about it, where too little too late. And honestly, from looking at it, there weren't really any big key standout plays in the second half when, like, if you want to look at it that way. Because what was going on in the second half was, okay, Arizona would get on a little bit of a run. They'd score some points. Pete finally showed up. But he'll make a basket. He'll make a 3. And then, what does Michigan do? Michigan turns right back around. And they score 2. Like, it was kind of just I don't know. They just got beat up. Do I think that Arizona was ready for this game? Absolutely not. I think, all things considered, like, I think this was I think this kind of shows the difference of programs too, where you look at Michigan, like, let's just go from 2000, the last time Arizona had been in a Final Four, versus Michigan. Advantage leans Michigan's way. And I think, I don't know, like, I think size had to do with it too, because some of the playmaking abilities from Mara, like, he was bowling people on the baseline. But then I think too, I don't know, and I kind of touched on it a little bit and talked about it during the halftime, where when Yaxel was out and then before he came back, I don't think Arizona took advantage as much as they could. Obviously they tried as hard as they could. I'm not discrediting that. I'm not saying that they just went, okay guys, well, we can't play. Their stars out. Let's sit and wait a little bit. Let's give it some time. Like, I think there was, I still think there was a valiant effort in their try, but like with them coming back, I mean, you got to look at the 3-point shots. Michigan doubled them. Michigan made 12 of 27, and then Arizona shot half. They only made 6 threes. And I would look at it was Michigan Bama. Yeah, it was Michigan Bama, where this same exact kind of situation happened, where Michigan would start to extend the lead, and then the only way to try to get back into the game would be to shoot threes. And then, oh, look at that, you're shooting threes, and none of them are going down. And because they're not going down, this game is getting out of reach. And I think that was another thing too, because again, when you're shooting double what your opponent is shooting with the 3 ball, it turns into what this was, where it was a blowout. And yeah, again, the middle third of this second half, where the points and the lead extended to a 30-point lead, it was kind of like, well, let's start packing our bags and let's get ready for Monday, because yeah, Michigan's going to play in the title. Now, with the Michigan Blues and the UConn Whites, I like that jersey matchup. It would look good. Again, still, I'm pulling for Michigan comes out in their yellows. I think yellows against UConn's blues would look superb. But let's actually, here, hold on, helper. I don't have a fun name for my helper. Let's pull up that video again. Okay. Not only, let's talk a little bit about body language and attitude, because I think this was a big thing and a big difference on what this game was. Just look at the body language of what's going on with Michigan versus Arizona, and you can kind of see it in the eyes a little bit. I think I'm thinking Michigan was a little too much to handle, and also I don't know, call me crazy. I think when you see the body language of players and you're noticing, because they talk about it where the eyes never lie and stuff. There's been cool sports videos on it where when you tell clutch athletes from non-clutch athletes or whatever, what do their eyes look like? And this photo back here kind of illustrated everything. I think Arizona hadn't been bullied. I think they got bullied one time, and it was in that Texas Tech game in February, I believe, when they lost at home. I think they lost 2 back-to-back, which is why they lost their number 1 overall ranking, which is where Duke came out of nowhere and took the overall number 1 ranking. But I think you look and you see, I think the players, I don't know if they were ready for a little bit of bully ball. And I think Duke plays bully ball as well, don't get me wrong. But from what we're kind of seeing, I don't think UConn bullies teams. I think UConn is just a scrappy team that will hang in there and get anybody. But with how just the start of the game, from the jump, this would be a different story, and this, we'd be talking about something different if the game started 10-15, 8-12, maybe there could be a difference with attitude for Arizona. But I think with the fact that it started 10-1, and then by our first commercial break, it was 16-5, I do think that carries over. And I think with deflation on, body language of the athletes, I think if hey, their star guy went down and we can't get a jump on him, I think that's huge. I can imagine, yes, how that is deflating on, our best player who scored the most points, even when he started to catch fire in the second half. Even that wasn't enough, because, hey, look at the score. We're still down by 20 plus. This is the most that we've been down all year. And funny enough, I'd actually, people are clowning and talking bad about Duke and blowing their lead against UConn. I think this is worse, all things considered. Considering that, okay, both Duke and Arizona won the regular season. They won the regular season title for their conferences, and they both won their conferences. Arizona has, from what I have seen, I don't remember, like, there was the 4-team invitational with Michigan and Duke as well. I can't remember who Arizona played. Maybe they played Arizona State. Like, it was the fancy, like, Valentine's weekend thing. I can't remember who they played. They played somebody. But I'm thinking, other than that game, because I think they lost that game, and then the game against Iowa State, and then the Texas Tech game. These are the handful of games that I did see from the Wildcats. I never, like, there's parts of me that think, like, maybe getting jumped on, they weren't used to it. And I'm thinking, like, I don't know. It's one of those things where, like, I've never seen them play a tight game all year. And so then when the game was tight and when it turned into bully ball, it was like, oh, frick, here we go. But Sun Devil fans rejoice because I'm telling you what, if the Wildcats won, Sun Devil fans would have had to hear about it on how, oh, we're the superior basketball program, blah blah, yada yada. But it is what it is. It happens. What else is going on? I think Mar is just it on player of the tournament, player of the game. He played absolutely phenomenal. He stepped up big, and again with size difference, playing bully ball, being able to dictate and determine the post, it was big, and it was huge for Michigan, and it ended up leading to a victory. So that's my initial thoughts and reactions to the Michigan versus Arizona game. Guys, if you like basketball, be sure to give your hot take in the comments. Leave a like and subscribe. Let's now switch it over. Let's turn over to where is voila. Let's go back. Let's run it back up to the because we got to talk about the Illinois game now. Illinois and UConn. This was our first game in the doubleheader tonight. Okay, just making sure that is muted. Sweet. Let's run back over here. Hold on. We can go all the way back up to the top. Okay. Wait a minute. There I am. Okay, I was wondering what was going on. And so, here, let's do... Sorry, peeps. Let's get back to... let's get back to this. Let me talk about some things. 3-pointers? Yes. Okay, I'm remember. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Again, 6, 12. Again, when you're shooting double like that huge reason why they wouldn't care. Let me turn back the clock a little bit. Sorry, people. Okay, here we go. We don't need it. Here, let's go back over here. We'll wing it. That's what we do on this channel. We wing it all the freaking time. All right. Okay, guys. There we go. So, for some things that I wrote down in the UConn game. Ooh, great from the 3 early. Yeah, that makes sense, actually. And then Illinois took a timeout after UConn went on a 10-2 run. Illinois started 0 for 6. Yes. Now it's coming back to me. Excellent, Smithers. Yes, they started 0 for 6, but when they did make their first 3 and cut it down to I believe, 18-9. No, 18-12. UConn then went right back and made a 3, making it 21-21. Yes, it's all coming back to me now. The other thing too is Illinois was very favorable. This is actually towards the end of the game, this particular photo, but this is the Mullins 3 where Mullins and Wagler went back to back on huge 3s. This was under a minute. This made the score to 62 again, because this game was close. There was a moment where, holy frick, we could be seeing Illinois play in the national championship because with just how the game played out, Illinois started to march a little bit of a comeback, and UConn had a handful of scoring droughts. I mean, in one of the scoring droughts that I mentioned, and I've mentioned it within this stream, is they went on their little right here, yep, scoring drought, where they're in a scoring drought for over 3.5 minutes, where Illinois made the score at one point 22-21 because they didn't score a bucket for 5 minutes, and then it was 26-24 with 4 minutes left to go before halftime. In the second half, this is where UConn started out with a big lead. Their largest lead so far to the point in the game was 11 points. Then they made it 57-45. Illinois then went on an 8-0 run to make it 57-51 with 6:30 left to go in the game. And then this is where the game started to heat up a little bit because Stojakovic, oh my gosh, I keep the foreigners. They got a lot of foreigners players, and I keep butchering their names. My bad. But he had a huge three to cut it to 57. I think I have a photo. Well, this is the only photo I got of him. But his three cut it to 57-53. There's 5 minutes left. And their little 10-2 run ended on a couple layups and free throws from the UConn. And then we had the dunk. Where's the dunk? There's the dunk right there. There's the dunk. Thank you, Jarvis, for helping me. This dunk made it 61-53. And then there was the three ball. I don't know, where is it? Where is that? Where is that? Or from this guy. I don't think I had a photo of it. No, I didn't. I did not. But this guy, you remember Chris? Sorry, I keep butchering these names. I feel so bad. He had a three ball, made it 56-61. There was 2:46 left in the game. And then, as we talked about, the back-to-back threes from the freshmen, under a minute, making it 66-62. And then at the end of the game, because this is how I wrote it, and this is kind of what we talked about in the regular stream, but they started to foul, where they'd go to the line, shoot a couple. In the event that, oh, good, UConn missed, we can go back to it. And I think at the very end of the game, where this game got away from Illinois, was the bad looks and forced looks on the three ball. And then Illinois also missed their free throws too. Like, yeah, it wasn't, because the thing too is who was the team? Was it Iowa? Maybe it was Iowa against Illinois, where they had so many looks, but they just could not buy a bucket, and they couldn't buy a three. And so that, because Illinois had like 3 or 4 shots, they had a couple looks like in the final minute to make it, but they'd shoot, miss, get a rebound, pop it back out, shoot, miss again. Like Illinois, because again, they only made 6 threes, which, let's go look at the stats. Hold on. Nope. Never mind, I closed out of it. Whoops. Here, let me pull it up here. I think, funny enough, I think both Michigan and UConn, because it was 6-12. Now let's look at the 6-12. That's funny. Look at that. That is funny. They're both in half. Turnovers pretty even between Michigan and Arizona State. I don't know what the turnovers look like over here for these guys. 4-8. That's not too bad. Because again, the turnovers and the fouls and grittiness of the game, I would talk and lean more towards the Michigan game against Arizona. Because again, it was bad. Like there were so many fouls in that game. It was a scrappy game. It was weird to watch. All right, but I shall we go around the horn? Let's go around the horn real quick. Let's go look at some other big news because I think we had a couple hockey games today, and then after that we can end the stream. But yeah, if you guys like sports content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Okay, so ooh, Jokic outduels Wemby. I did see this. I didn't know if this was from today or the other day. So the Spurs had an 11 game streak. See, this is why I'm. See, oh, look at all those W's. W. 11 freaking straight. See, this is why I think the Nuggets can be a handful for whoever they play in the postseason. Because, again, look at what the Nuggets just did to the Spurs. Now, it took till overtime, and I mean, we were watching the other game, so I don't know really the game cast of how this game went. Let's go. Largest lead here for the Spurs, 13. For the Nuggets, 5. Spurs led for 87% of the game. Points in the paint, 54 to 42. Points off of turnovers. Oh my gosh, that actually goes in favor of the Spurs, 19 to 8. Did anybody get cold from the 3? Yeah. Looks like the Spurs did 15 and the Nuggets made 19. Jokic, well, when Jokic has a 40 piece, that definitely helps. Let's go look at the little graph. Oh, look at the little graph. See, again, Spurs led for the majority of the game, and then we are 116 to 115 with 3 minutes left in the fourth. And then we are 120 to 116 with a minute 40 in the fourth. And then it just kind of, where does overtime start? Did someone, Victor Wembanyama, so he had a shot at the buzzer, but he missed it. Okay. Shot clock turnover. Oh my gosh. So Denver tied it. So there was 45 seconds left, and Denver scored 4 points. Okay. What about this? Yeah, so they scored and made it 22-24. Wow. Okay, and then in the second half, no, not second half, overtime. Let's go play by play. Key plays. Overtime. Jokic splashes a shot over Wemby in overtime. Wemby nearly wins the game in overtime. No, before overtime. Done. Let's do just the fourth quarter. Let's do just overtime. How did overtime go? 3 points made and 2-pointers made. Here we go. Oh, okay. Okay, so 2, then 3. Oh, okay, so this swing right here. Yeah, and then Jokic, and then a 2, and then a 2, and then a garbage time 3. Because look at that. 0, 0, 0. Like, garbage time 3. They're up by 4 points with 9 seconds to go. Okay. Well, again, I think the Nuggets could be a problem for whoever they play in the postseason. That's just my opinion. Okay, who else played in the NBA tonight? Oh my gosh, slim pickings here. Only 3 games. All right, let's go to. There we go. Because this is what we came to talk about. Oh my gosh, we still have a game going. It's not like it matters though. It's because it's blacked out. Here we go. I did watch this game. Rangers took care of business. It was 3-0. Actually, no, it was 4-0 at one point. And then the Red Wings scored in garbage time. I watched the Avalanche against Stars game. Now, here's my takeaway and my opinion on this particular game and what I saw out of the Avalanche and the Stars with this game is I am super impressed with the Stars because I didn't know this, but they talked about it in the telecast. The Stars have injured guys. Majority of their starters and the guys that were sitting because of injury, they didn't play. Like the Stars just threw some guys out there. Now, 2-0 is still a 2-0 loss, but with their backup goalkeeper DeSmith, Avalanche also played with their backup Wedgwood. Both of them had great game today. He's even one of the 3 stars because he had 20 saves. And one of the goals was an empty netter too. So that one, don't put that one against him. Look at these shots, 17 and 20. Like the defense, both defenses smothered each other. And the other thing that I was going to say too, not only with just both defenses playing well and being smothering with each other, Dallas with a whole bunch of backups. Oh, that's what I was going to say, is it took till, when did Nietzsche have his goal? 10, yeah. So 50 minutes. We're 50 minutes into the game, and then that's when there is the go-ahead goal. So without their starters and all their main key players and their main goalie, Dallas was hanging on to, and they're only 4 points behind the Avalanche too for the Central. But like, we have our potential, President Cup trophy winners, and Dallas hung around. I think that actually has more to say on the Avalanche than it does the Stars. And so when I'm looking at the potential matchup that they have in round 2, I'm going, yeah, a healthy Stars team can probably beat the Avs if they can sneak one in Colorado. But again, when these two teams have met, like home field, home ice, my bad, sorry, it doesn't matter. It doesn't stink of matter. Okay, Lightning and Bruins, did not watch this one. Watched a little, oh my gosh, 9? Dude, did Bobrovsky get pulled? He had to. He had to have gotten pulled. Yes, he got pulled. Yep. After they allowed 6. Okay. Which the 6th goal was, oh my gosh, that second period was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Oh my gosh, that second period was ridiculous. What the hell? In my defense, I was not watching this game because I was too busy watching the Illinois game. Illinois and UConn game was going on right now. So all of these freaking goals, I did not see that. 9 points, that is ridiculous. 6-point second period, that's insane. That is freaking insane. And especially on Bobrovsky too. Like, come on now. Canadians, okay, they win. Caps win. See, this is why I'm a little iffy on the Sabres. Can they win on the road? Jets beat the Blue Jackets, Canucks, Kings, and Maple Leafs. Okay. Well, this is probably a quiet, good game. 7-6 in overtime. Kings with a comeback too. Hello, they were down 2-0. Let's see what they were really down by at one point in this game. Oh my gosh, they were down 6-4. Oh, no. The Leafs were up. Hold on. I'm reading this wrong. Toronto 2, 2-2, 3-2, 3-3, 4-3. They were down 4-3. And then they went up 6-4, blew that lead, and then won in overtime. Ooh, don't look at me. Don't look at me, brother. I don't know. All right. Quiet, cool game. Golden Knights and Oilers. I feel like these guys have played the last handful of games. Let's see who's on net tonight. Hart, and Ingram. Okay. Vegas up 4-1. Yeah, these guys played Thursday, I think. Last Thursday, something like that. Oh, it's in Edmonton too. Wow, it's in Edmonton and they're putting that much. They're blowing. Wow. They're beating you on the road, dude. They're freaking beating you on the road. Alright. Alright. Sounds good enough. Alright, let's see what else. We already talked about college basketball. We already talked about hockey. We talked about the NFL. The MLB. Was there anything with the MLB? Phillies won. Yay. Mets won. Wow, 9-0. Okay. Alright. I think that'll be it, guys. That will be it. People on the shorts end, we're going to do a hard out. So I will see you guys later. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you guys later. That's on the shorts end. Yes. Wrap that up. Put a little bow on it. Sweet. Total. Dude, I can't see the chats. It says that there's people talking in the chats, but I can't freaking see it. That's so weird. It won't show me the chats. Let me end that. Let me go over here. Let me double check. Let's make sure. Okay. Okay, sweet. Okay. Okay. All right, people. Let me put this right here, and then we will end the stream. I got nothing else to say other than, hey, look at that. My prediction for UConn, Michigan was correct. So, looking at it now, I'm like pulling away from it. I think UConn, again, and I'm going to still sit by it. I thought whoever was coming out of the East was going to win it all. Because you looked at how many, like, it was a gauntlet. And I think when you step back, and I know a lot of people get a little like, when they talk about, just look at the logos, predict off the logos, which sounds so stupid. But like, when you step back and you look at just how historic of a franchise UConn's been versus Illinois, it's like, yeah, it would make sense that UConn would win this, and especially with their the record that they have on past the Sweet 16, where 18 straight wins. Again, that is a feat. I don't think Krzyzewski, Roy Williams, Jay Wright, Izzo, I don't think these are feat these guys have been able to do. The other thing too, because it talked about, like, it compared Hurley against like Bobby Knight and like the UCLA head coach. Because here's the other crazy thing too about like college basketball. Past the 70s, we don't even look at it, because UCLA won like 7 straight at one point in the 60s and the 70s. I don't know, like, because I think maybe the cause for UCLA winning also led them to go, okay, we need to let other people in the bracket to like give us a shot. Like, I don't know, because they're like, March Madness hasn't always been 64 teams. Like, it has expanded, which I've been hitting at home that I think by the end of the decade, when we get into the 2030s, we're going to have a field of 100. I think they'll get to that where 2 teams play for the 16, 15, 14, and 13 spots. None of this, hey, we're going to have the 16 and then the 11 seeds. Because it's like, what, so 14, 15 get an automatic bid, but like the 11 seeds have to play. I don't know. But I do think that we'll have a point here where you just look at the 30 conferences where you have the winners automatic bid in, so there's 30 teams real quick, and then you can just, make a list all the way down of like, okay, whether you want to do it alphabetically or by wins, you just hit the top, and it's like, okay, look, this team is 31-0, and then go down, and then it's like, boom, 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 fill it in, for the remainder 70 teams, and then there you go. There's your March Madness, and like your first weekend before March Madness starts, you have your 16, 15, 14, 13, your 8 extra teams playing in the 4 games, and then boom, you let it roll from there. But anyways, sorry, quick math. See, I'm smart. I know how to do math off the top of my head. But anyways, that's my thoughts, guys. We're gonna end the stream here. Thank you guys for watching. As I went through, talked about some other sports, but yeah, Michigan dominated Arizona, and I'm surprised too. Like they were talking about on the TV, like they were like, we're surprised, we didn't see this coming, and it's like, no, I did not see Arizona getting blown out this much. Like, I have seen Arizona choke, and I've seen Arizona blow games, but by this much, no. I think the bully ball. I think Michigan came to play. I think Michigan was bullying teams, and the fact that Yaxel didn't play the whole game too. Dude, I don't even know. And I'm not saying that's how much of a fraud Arizona was, because again, Arizona earned their right to be here for who they went through. Utah State, Arkansas, Purdue. Do I think Purdue could have given Michigan a little bit of a run? Maybe. I don't know. But man, we'll see. I don't know. But I do think they deserve to be there. But there was a 30-point lead at one point. But anyways, I gotta stop yapping. We gotta start. I gotta start cooking dinner, man, dude. I am freaking hungry. But thank you guys for watching all day. We kind of did an all-day stream, sorta, because we gave halftime reports. But yeah, whether you're watching this now or later, I thank you guys. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. And yeah, we'll catch you guys. And I'm probably not tonight, just with how late it is, because I do want to go to bed. I'll probably post a video tomorrow about this and give a reaction tomorrow. Collect my thoughts, be a little bit more, articulate in my post-game reaction, because there's an articulate way I need to find how to say, yeah, Arizona got their ass kicked. But anyways, guys, I thank you guys for watching. It was fun. This Final Four was fun. These 4 teams deserve to be here, so I'll catch you guys in the next one.